A child's world is fresh and new and beautiful, full of wonder and excitement. In this now universal contamination of the environment, chemicals are the sinister and little recognized partners of radiation in changing the very nature of the world, the very nature of its life. Many children delight in the small and inconspicuous. To stand at the edge of the sea, to sense the ebb and flow of the tides, to feel the breath of a mist, is to have knowledge of things that are as nearly eternal as any earthly life can be. Nature reserves some of her choice rewards for days when her mood may appear to be somber. There is something infinitely healing in the repeated refrains of nature, the assurance that dawn comes after night and spring after winter. The more clearly we can focus our attention on the wonders and realities of the universe about us, the less taste we shall have for destruction. We still talk in terms of conquest. We still haven't become mature enough to think of ourselves as only a tiny part of a vast and incredible universe. The question is whether any civilization can wage relentless war on life without destroying itself and without losing the right to be called civilized. In nature, nothing exists alone. The aim of science is to discover and illuminate truth. And that, I take it, is the aim of literature, whether biography or history. The road we have long been traveling is deceptively easy, a smooth superhighway on which we progress with great speed, but at its end lies disaster. There is no drop of water in the ocean that does not know and respond to the mysterious forces that create the tide. As crude a weapon as the caveman club, the chemical barrage has been hurled against the fabric of life. Knowing what I do, there would be no future peace for me if I kept silent. The materials of science are the materials of life itself. Science is the way, the how and the why for everything in our experience. Those who contemplate the beauty of the earth find reserves of strength that will endure as long as life lasts. This pollution is for the most part irrecoverable. The chain of evil it initiates not only in the world that must support life but in living tissues is for the most part irreversible. The entomologist's dream of the built-in insecticide was born when workers in the field of applied entomology realized they could take a hint from nature. They found that wheat growing in soil containing sodium cyanate was immune to attack by aphids or spider mites. By acquiescing in an act that causes such suffering to a living creature, who among us is not diminished? Man is a part of nature, and his war against nature is inevitably a war against himself. Those who dwell, as scientists or laymen, among the beauties and mysteries of the earth, are never alone or weary of life. It is a wholesome and necessary thing for us to turn again to the earth, and in the contemplation of her beauties, to know the sense of wonder and humility. The road, the one less traveled by, offers our last, our only chance to reach a destination that assures the preservation of the earth. It seems to me, then, that there can be no separate literature of science. The edge of the sea is a strange and beautiful place. The fabric of life, on the one hand delicate and destructible, on the other miraculously tough and resilient, and capable of striking back in unexpected ways. The choice, after all, is ours to make. But the sea, though changed in a sinister way, will continue to exist. The threat is rather to life itself. To understand the living present and the promise of the future, it is necessary to remember the past. If I had influence with the good fairy, who is supposed to preside over the christening of all children, I should ask that her gift to each child in the world be a sense of wonder so indestructible that it would last throughout life. We live in a scientific age, yet we assume that knowledge of science is the prerogative of only a small number of human beings, isolated and priest-like in their laboratories. Man undoes the built-in checks and balances by which nature holds the species within bounds. If there is poetry in my book about the sea, it is not because I deliberately put it there, but because no one could write truthfully about the sea and leave out the poetry. For the sense of smell, almost more than any other, has the power to recall memories, and it's a pity we use it so little. It is not half so important to know as to feel. It is a curious situation that the sea, from which life first arose, should now be threatened by the activities of one form of that life. The most alarming of all man's assaults upon the environment is the contamination of air, earth, rivers, and sea with dangerous and even lethal materials. Nature has introduced great variety into the landscape, but man has displayed a passion for simplifying it. Those who love and free nature are never alone. The winds, the sea, and the moving tides are what they are. If there is wonder and beauty and majesty in them, science will discover these qualities. How could intelligent beings seek to control a few unwanted species? By a method that contaminated the entire environment and brought the threat of disease and death even to their own kind? These extraordinary capacities of life have been ignored by the practitioners of chemical control, who have brought to their task no high-minded orientation, no humility before the vast forces with which they tamper. Only within the moment of time represented by the present century has one species, man, acquired significant power to alter the nature of the world. There is one quality that characterizes all of us who deal with the sciences of the earth, and its life: we are never bored.